Hello guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. It's David here, and welcome back to the DS Sports Show. Now today, today is Wednesday, we shall be talking about motorsports news. And in other news, it was announced yesterday on National Watermelon Day that Ross Chastain, the current driver of the number 42 Chip Ganassi Racing Chevrolet, will be joining Trackhouse Racing in their second car for next season. Now if you guys do not know this, Trackhouse actually bought Chip Ganassi Racing, so Chip Ganassi and their team will be gone, and it'll be Trackhouse's team next. So Trackhouse is gonna have at least two charters after losing the charter that they were currently leasing from, I think, Aspire. So yeah, so when it comes to Trackhouse next year, they'll have two charters, which means they're gonna have two cars. One car is already going to be filled by the number 99 car of Daniel Suarez, who's currently right now running 23rd in points. And next season, it'll be now Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain. And the number has been revealed. Ross Chastain will be driving the number 1 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. So I actually like that Trackhouse is keeping the number 1 in NASCAR. The number 1 in NASCAR has been around for a very long time. I think before Jimmy Murray, the guy that drove the number 1, I think was Mark Martin. I think so. No, actually it was Martin Truex Jr. I forgot. Martin Truex Jr. drove the number 1 before Jimmy Murray drove it for Chip Ganassi Racing. So yeah, the 1 car has definitely been around since I think before 2008. So that's a very good thing to see that the number 1 car is still staying in NASCAR. And it's also another good thing to see Ross Chastain finally get his dues. Because Ross Chastain, the first two months of this season, he was not performing very, very well. But ever since then, Ross Chastain has put on another gear. And there's a good shot that Ross Chastain has an outside shot of making the playoffs, which we'll be discussing later on in this video. But what does this mean for Ross Chastain right now? Who is Ross Chastain? Ross Chastain is basically a journeyman like Daniel Suarez, who's been to many different teams, whether that's in the Cup, Trucks, or Xfinity. He used to be a Chip Ganassi development driver before Chip Ganassi shut down their Xfinity team, and then he went to the Truck Series race for Nice Motorsports, actually did all 3 series for the full amount of races that whole season. Then he went into the Xfinity Series with Colleague Racing, joining in the number 10, and then finally this year he made the move up to Chip Ganassi Racing and the number 42 car, where he was basically supposed to be a year ago. But obviously, what happened with Chip Ganassi's Xfinity Series team, that did not eventually happen. So what does this mean for Ross Chastain now? Well, Ross Chastain, like I said, does join Trackhouse Racing. Ross Chastain will drive the number 1 car. The sponsors and the crew chief had not been announced for this car, but I would love to see McDonald's stay on that number 1 car, because McDonald's has been a long-time sponsor for Chip Ganassi Racing ever since Jamie Murray started, I think, back in 2009-2010 season. So it'll be very good to see McDonald's stay with that number 1 car. He's 18th currently in points, so he does have a very good shot at making the playoffs. I mean, when it comes to the playoffs, there's at least 4 races left. So Ross Chastain has 4 races to turn it around, and hey, maybe he could do it Eric Almirola, just come out and surprise everyone and make the field. Because if it wasn't for Michael McDowell and Eric Almirola, Michael McDowell and Eric Almirola winning this season, Ross Chastain would right now actually be in that 16th spot. So Ross Chastain right now will be actually in the Cup Series playoffs with his teammate Kurt Busch, who has already won this season. He'll be teammates with Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez will drive the number 99. Daniel Suarez will drive the number 99. Ross Chastain will drive the number 1. So actually the 2 numbers that are on opposite sides will be both raced by Trackhouse Racing, besides the 0-0 car, which is driven by Quinn Houff for Starcom Racing. So that's going to be interesting to see. And also when it comes to this Ross Chastain deal, it'll be a multi-year deal, which means Ross Chastain will be at least there for at least 2 to 3 years for Trackhouse Racing. So this is a very good opportunity. It's funny that they announced it on National Watermelon Day, because everybody knows Ross Chastain. Whenever he wins, he always has a watermelon ready, and he smashes a watermelon on the start finish line whenever he wins. And I love that tradition. And he's from Florida, so I'm very glad to see a Florida driver doing well, and the Florida driver continuing to be in the NASCAR Cup Series. Now, other news in the NASCAR Cup Series, let's talk about his teammate currently right now, and what does that mean for Kurt Busch. I'm pretty sure Trackhouse Racing did eventually call Kurt Busch, or their first choice is Kurt Busch. But I feel like Kurt Busch told him that he was interested in another ride, and that other ride is 2311's second car. Now, if you guys also don't know, 2311 is currently owned by Michael Jordan, majority owned by Michael Jordan, and minority owners Denny Hamlin. Now, the current driver right now is Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is actually 21st in points. So Bubba Wallace actually isn't doing that good. But like I said, like Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace in the first 2-3 seasons wasn't doing that good. Ever since then, he's been picking up his form, but he's gonna have to win to get in. And considering that he's in technically JGR equipment, that's kind of not good for him. So Kurt Busch is likely guy to be joining a 2311 second car. I'm definitely sure they could secure sponsorship. Monster will probably go from Chip Ganassi Racing now to with Kurt Busch, because Monster Energy has been with Kurt Busch ever since he was at Trackhouse Racing back in, I think, 2015 when he first started out. So Kurt Busch is definitely probably going to be joining the 2311 Racing team. And now, speaking about Kurt Busch right now is actually in the playoffs. And speaking about the playoffs, let's get into the playoffs and the final 4 races and what I think is going to happen for the rest of the playoffs and who's going to get in, because it's actually very interesting to see between 2 teammates when it comes to the playoff cutoff line. So we have 4 races left in the NASCAR Cup Series season. We have Watkins Glen, which is going to be this weekend. Brad Keselowski is going to be on the pole for the Watkins Glen race. The Gold Bowling at the Glen, I think it's 3. The Gold Bowling at the Glen 350. Then we're going to have Indianapolis. And not only Indianapolis, we're not going to have the Brickyard 400. Well, I mean, we're going to have the Big Machine Vodka 400. I think it's sponsored by Florida Georgia Line, and this is going to be at the Indy Road Course. It's going to be the first time Indianapolis has had the road course for the Cup Series. I mean, they've always had it for Xfinity Series and Truck Series. I think they did last season, but this is going to be the first time they're going to have it for the Cup Series, so that's going to be interesting to see. Then we're going to have Michigan, and then finally the regular season finale, which will be August 28th at 7 p.m. at Daytona. Now let's take it now. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see, because now that we take a look at the playoff cutoff line, Denny Hamlin right now is in 14th spot, because Denny Hamlin is the only Joe Gibbs Racing driver to not win a race. Denny Hamlin right now is still currently the regular season points leader, so which means he is plus 283 points ahead of the cut line. So unless 2 drivers were to win, Denny Hamlin Denny Hamlin's safe. Denny Hamlin is definitely safe. Unless 3 drivers were to go out and win Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, and Michigan, Denny Hamlin would be safe. Or Denny Hamlin would not be safe. But Denny Hamlin currently is 283 points, like I said. So Denny Hamlin is definitely safe when it comes to the NASCAR playoffs. Next, we have Kevin Harvick, who's in 15th spot, plus 82. Kevin Harvick, shockingly, I don't know how, is not in the playoffs, but Trackhouse Racing has definitely had a down season. I mean, the only one in the playoffs right now from Trackhouse Racing is actually Eric Almirola, so that's actually very interesting to see. But I think Kevin Harvick is going to be safe when it comes to the playoffs. Now, 16th on back is going to be really, really interesting, because there are some drivers that have a chance to win at least 3 of these racetracks. I don't think 16th on back can win in Michigan. I think Michigan's the only one I'm counting out. But hey, Michigan's a weird track. Somebody could just go out and dominate Michigan and get a surprise victory. In Michigan, I'm pretty sure half the time is based off of the finish is all almost based off of fuel mileage, so it could come down to that. 16th place right now is Tyler Reddick, who's plus 5 ahead of cut line, and minus 5 in 17th is his teammate Austin Dillon. So it seems to say this stays true all the way up until Daytona. Is going to be one of the Richard Childress cars making it to the playoffs. And at the beginning of the season, I would have probably said both Richard Childress cars had a good chance of making the playoffs, but due to Michael McDowell winning and Eric Almirola winning, that it just seems like it's only going to be one. 18th is Chris Buescher, the driver number 17 Ford for Roush Fenway Racing, 121 points back. So Chris Buescher is in a must-win. 19th place in the must-win. 20th place in the must-win. And 19th place is Matt DiBenedetto, 143 points back, who will not be returning to Wood Brothers Racing next year, with Harrison Burton coming into that number 21 team. Ross Chastain, the guy I just talked about being in 20th in points, so that actually I was wrong. He wasn't 18th in points. He's 20th in points. He's 144 points back. But I think Ross Chastain has some good races. And remember, Ross Chastain is good at Daytona, so Ross Chastain is going to have a very good chance of winning Daytona. But the most interesting one that I don't have in the top 20 or in these spots is in 24th place, Chase Briscoe. If you guys remember what I said, the last 4 races, I said the Indy Road Course. Chase Briscoe is good on the Indy Road Course. Chase Briscoe almost won the Road Course. He finished second last season to Austin Cindric. And now that Austin Cindric is not running in the Indy Road Course, that means Chase Briscoe is a likely favorite to win. And what if Chase Briscoe were to come out and win at the Indy Road Course? What would that mean for the playoffs? Well, he would be in. Denny Hamlin would sure to be in. Kevin Harvick would be in. And that means Tyler Reddick would be the last. Actually, no, Tyler Reddick would actually be out. Would be out, and I think it would basically be a must-win situation going into Michigan and Daytona for any driver there, because Chase Briscoe wins this. Kevin Harvick is what? Kevin Harvick is going to be basically like almost 90 points clear of the bottom, like from getting cut. And so yeah, basically anybody who's below Kevin Harvick would be in a must-win. So in terms of the playoffs and after Daytona, Denny Hamlin's going to be in, Kevin Harvick's going to be in, and the final driver I think that's going to make the playoffs for the 2021-2022 NASCAR season is going to be Chase Briscoe. And Chase Briscoe is going to get his first NASCAR Cup Series victory at the Indy Road Course. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please do smash the like button. I'll be posting more sports content for you guys to see in the coming days. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification so you know my videos go live. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys all later. Peace.